Oh, please don't have any chips on you. Please don't. Okay, y'all, welcome back to my channel. My name's Amanda. I'm a small seller. I currently sell on eBay as well as on Niknax. My eBay store is currently 45% off through December 12th. And if you go to the video description, you will also find a discount code for my Niknax store for 45% off as well. We are in Waldo heading into the Goodwill. I think the indoor is this one. I don't know how much it matters, but here we go. And it's still blue tags, but today is now Wednesday, so it's 75% off. All right, so let's grab a cart. We're starting kind of at the front of the store. I figured why not? It looked like they had a lot of Christmas stuff up here. And again, like I said in my last video, I generally don't mess too much with Christmas stuff unless it's truly vintage Christmas. But that's just my personal thing. And that goes for, well, really any holiday, to be honest with you. But I figured we would take a quick look at what they had. I'm not seeing a whole lot, at least not right here up front. And my battery on my phone, now I have my portable charger with me in case, but we just got done, and you would have already seen this video, at the previous location where we were at City Thrift right down the road. And so by the time I got done there, my battery was down to 30-something%. So started charging it. We're at almost 50%. So we'll see how we do. Okay, and I always love looking up here at this stuff. Look at this hat. Now that's cool looking. What do they got on that? $5.83. That is a cool looking hat. I'm not gonna lie. I don't think it's terribly old. I could be wrong. It is made in New York though. I think I'm gonna leave it. I'm just not, you guys, I'm not experienced in that stuff. If you watched, one of my recent videos, I kind of did, I was packing up some stuff and having my morning coffee and just kind of chatting with you guys. And I was talking about some different things and, you know, looking at different stuff. And I've had people ask me, like, you know, why don't you try looking into clothes and things like that? And I had mentioned in there that, you know, like I have thrifted for like everything my entire life. Thrift stores or garage sales, you know, that kind of thing. And I've never personally really been into like designer fashion and stuff. It's just never been my thing. I remember back in school, you know, all the girls, or it seemed like anyway, most of the girls were very much into fashion and designer and, you know, yada yada. And it just, I don't know, I never got into it. And so it's very much like out of my element. I don't know a lot of the names to look for. That is pretty. $5.25, pink tag. I don't think it's truly brass though. I think it's a pop metal and made to then like been electroplated to look brass or bronzed. But yeah, I just don't, I'm not familiar enough with it. And it's not that I can't learn it. I just, good night, man. I have so much going on right now that I feel like for me to try to venture into a whole new realm for me would be pretty difficult. Some things I do know. Okay, hold on. That is creepy as all get out. And that actually kind of looks like an old board card. I can't think of what it's actually called, but that's what that actually looks like. That's interesting. What do they have on that? Like the frame, I'm not super excited about. $5.25. That's interesting. This piece itself, it's disturbing, but it's interesting. This is a Philby piece. Looks like somebody probably had their name on it at one point. $2.93 on this. It's kind of hard to tell. It's like the ice blue. Fire King made it. It's Philby pattern. It'd be like a small pie dish, I think. But so some things I do know in regards to fashion or clothing type stuff, at least as far as the vintage stuff goes, is look for stuff that was made in the USA. Because once you hit the 80s and the 90s and stuff, most all of it was being produced elsewhere. That being said, there are pieces, I think we looked at this one last time we were here too. I want to say this was like a humidor. They got $4.81 on it. I'm going to leave it though, I think. But, oh, that's pretty. Sorry, I keep getting distracted, but it's flaking off. Like my finger just accidentally flaked a little more of it off. But it is a cute box. I had $5.25 on it, pink tag. But, there are things like stuff made in France and things like that. But generally, for me, because I'm so ignorant when it comes to the fashion stuff, I stick with things that were produced in the USA, and I especially really love stuff that is natural fabrics. Oh look, there's a sticker, made in Romania, handcrafted. These are pretty, $2.93. They're priced individually. What's this one at? $4.81. And the larger one looks like it still has a sticker. This one has a chip. The larger one has a chip. I'm not gonna mess with them. I've got enough stuff to deal with. And we added more to it the other day. Oh look, hold on. Oh, please don't have any chips on you. Please don't. Please don't. This is, again, Anchor Hawking Sereno pattern. I don't know what this color's called, but it's kind of a teal, aquamarine sort of color. I didn't feel any chips on the exterior, but son of a gun if there isn't one right there. But it's very small. That's more flea bite size. That amber colored one we saw the other day, it had a few like chunks out of the side of it, and I just couldn't deal with that. But for $2.93 and the fact that it's this aquamarine color, I might grab that. Those can be worth picking up. Always better if they're in perfect condition, obviously, but these are interesting. What's that? $2.93. Lilac something. I think it's made in Italy. Oh, it's very broken. Look at that. Okay, fine. I'll leave it. I thought it was a cute trinket dish. I think we looked at this one last time too. But yeah, so anyways, back to the clothing conversation, I suppose. We can wrap that up by saying, I don't know what the hell I'm doing. These are made in Japan, and I actually have, or had, I don't remember if I've sold them yet, a set of this stuff. It was I think it was the pitcher or the carafe and the cups. I don't remember if I had the cream and sugar. Now this one, it's chipped up on here, and they got $4.25 on it. But, oh, and there's the Japan mark. But they are cute. I do like them. Okay, so I was heading back towards the other direction so we could start in the very first aisles, but real quick, this caught my eye. Now, this is a hand-painted wood tray, $6.25 yellow tag. It does have quite a bit of wear to it and some cracking, it looks like, going on. So I think I'm gonna leave it, but that is really pretty. I really like that a lot. That's too bad. If it was in a little bit better condition, I'd probably go for it. Oh, look, they got a little cart pulled out here, but I don't see anything on it except for Eeyore there. That's what I used to refer to my dog Harry as, Eeyore. He was so funny. I've kind of mentioned him before. He's my dog. He was an American Bulldog Beagle mix, and he was so cute. I love that dog and miss him so much, but he was just kind of like Eeyore, you know, that's how he just kind of moved and stuff, unless you approached my backyard or something. And it was like literally watching Clark Kent turn into Superman. It was like all of a sudden his whole body would change, and like his musculature, all of a sudden you could see. It was just crazy. And he was not an aggressive dog, but he was very protective of me. Anyways, Eeyore reminds me of Harry. That's kind of neat. 57 out of 500. Thomas Hughes for Kent Price, class of 81. Pembroke Country Day School. That's kind of cool. Oh yeah, we were down this aisle, but then some other ladies came down and they were looking, and I didn't want to get in their way, so we're swinging back through. Now this is that, I think it's Woodland or Butterfly Gold. This might be the brown woodland pattern. I can't remember now. One of the two, by Corel or Pyrex, one of the two. Corel. Cups and saucers there. What do they have on them? $3.74 for the stack of those, and $3.74 for the stack of cups. And I mean, they're not probably really, to be honest, a terrible pickup, but I've had pieces like this listed that I think I still currently have listed, so I'm gonna leave them. This is cool looking. Made in Japan, $2.93. I don't know what it says under there, something hand painted, but it's cool looking. But I'm gonna leave it. I don't need any more cups. I just picked up a couple cups. Unless we find something crazy extraordinary. Who does the Kansas City Renaissance Festival? Oh, that's fun. Look at that, they did a good job. These are interesting. These are black glass, like champagne glasses. I have no idea who made these. $4.81. They feel very new, very slick. I could be wrong, but that is the impression I'm getting. Plus, like I said, you know, the price on those for the set of four at $4.81, that's actually shockingly not terrible, but I think we'll leave them. So far, that's all we got. But let's keep looking. Looks like they got a lot of, candles and lamp sort of things on this one. I don't see anything that's really grabbing me though. All right. Let's peek at the clear glass stuff they got sitting here. Punch bowl with some cups. Ladles are always missing from those. There is good money in punch sets, but they are another thing that tend to sit for a long time, and especially if you don't have the complete set. Oh, here's a pressure cooker. I've been wanting to start canning my own stuff, but we actually have a pot at home already that will do it. It's just not very large, but that one actually doesn't look much bigger than the one we have. Oh, here's a kitty. He's glittered up. Tender Heart Treasures, made in Taiwan, $4.25. And somebody, I don't know, maybe he came that way with all the glitter. That's fun. Clearance, $14.99. Oh, it's Pier 1, $4.25 on it. It's very plain. Oh, and there's the second one. Oh, looky here. That's a Fenton piece for $2.93. Where's it broken at? Wow. I don't see any breaks on it. It does have some scuffs and stuff, but it's a satin glass. It might be a custard glass, actually. And it's an older piece. It's hand painted. It's very pretty. I think for $2.93. I think that might be worth grabbing. Oh my gosh, that has to be the tiniest flip-in trinket box. $3.25. But it is in good condition, right? Well, it's got a couple little flea bites. It'd be 75% off. I don't, like, what would you put in that? I don't even know. I guess a ring, but it would be 75% off. He's got a tiny bit of paint loss. I don't know, you guys. Like, realistically, the resale value on this is like, at best, maybe $5 to $8. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna leave it. But that is like the tiniest one I think I've ever seen. Oh, here's a shelf of some randomness. There's some wood window shade blinds down there. A garden solar powered light flamingo. Huh. All right, well, you know, I hate to say it, y'all. I think we might be heading out of here shortly. Little jar that got $2.93 on it. But I think we're making out okay regardless. To heck with it. Let's head towards checkout. Well, that was a short thrifting trip to the Goodwill in Waldo. And I think it speaks again to the stuff we were hearing about the merger, and that they're pushing inventory to be just more used clothing. I mean, as you guys could see, I didn't even have to really tell you in the video that there just really wasn't a lot to show you. Nonetheless, we still came out with 2 items that were pretty good, I think, that I'm still not positive of the color, what they actually called it, but that like aquamarine Anchor Hawken Sereno pattern ashtray. Now those originally came, I think, in a set of 3 nesting ashtrays, and so the price on those of what they sell for varies depending on the size. So just keep that in mind. But the other piece we found was the hand painted Fenton piece, and that is a satin glass that's hand painted, and on average sells for, you know, give or take $30, $40, somewhere in there. But I did want to show you guys something before I talk about some sales. So City Thrift, before I left City Thrift, I had turned off the camera and I'd already taken my microphone off and all that stuff, so I wasn't going to do all the hookup again. But I came across this piece, and I apologize, I know the lighting is terrible, but this is a copper piece that's like cage that surrounds it. And if you can tell, the bubbling of the glass, so it's a blown piece, and here's the base of it. There's no chips or cracks to it. What I'm finding so far is that they're referring to it as a candle votive, although it is hollow. It goes hollow all the way down to the base. So I don't know. I think if wax got down in there, that would be difficult to get out. But nonetheless, I saw this. It was $13, yellow tag, so it wasn't on sale. But what I had noticed on it was this little sticker that you won't be able to see, but it says Villeroy and Bach on it. And so that, of course, caught my attention. And I'll put some stuff on the screen for you. I've only been able so far to find one of these listed. I haven't found any sold comps, just current listings. One of which was Etsy, and they had it listed for like $250 or something like that. Is that realistic? I have no idea. On eBay, I found 2 or 3 comps that, and it looks like these probably originally came in pairs in a set, which would make sense, to be honest. But I only found the green version, not the blue. And they were priced on eBay, I want to say anywhere between 40 and 60, but again, I'll have it on the screen because I can't remember off the top of my head. But there's no damage to this piece, and you know, I'll be honest, I saw it and I thought, wow, that is really beautiful, that is really cool. And then I saw the price on it of $13 and it's not on sale, and I was like, eh. But then I saw the Villeroy and Bach sticker. I would not have known this was Villeroy and Bach, but that's what prompted me to look further into it. And so hopefully it does carry some value and I can make a little bit of profit on that. $250 profit. I don't know. That to me, that could be realistic. I don't know enough about it to really tell you. But nonetheless, I wanted to share that additional find with you. But yeah, guys, with the Goodwills, out of all of the big national chain stores, Goodwill still does tend to have the better pricing, surprisingly, I know, compared to Savers, City Thrift, Red Racks, you know, all those guys. They seem to, for the most part, price their things pretty up there. But as you saw, they had a lot more inventory in their store over at City Thrift, and I was still able to find deals. But I'm contemplating ways to continue sourcing inventory, and estate sales, garage sales, all that kind of stuff are a great way to do it. But I'm also contemplating doing some like short road trips to various places in Kansas that probably most of y'all never heard of. But I am a Midwest redneck kind of gal. And I have family that lives out in the middle of nowhere. And believe it or not, though, there are antique stores and sometimes thrift stores and stuff out there. Carbondale, Kansas, for example, has a pretty good antique store that I've gone to. And I think I did film out there. I believe I did. It's probably somewhere way back in my video history. But anyway, so there's that. And then, I have a few sales I'm going to go over with you. But real quick, as far as toting up my inventory. Okay, so my original plan, I'm still toting everything, but my original plan was to get everything up here toted first. Everything that's in this room is currently listed, and there's a handful of things that I've taken downstairs to run in live sales that are also currently listed. But nonetheless, that was my original thought. And then go to the living room where I have, it looks like a lot more than it really is just because of the way it's arranged in the boxes and stuff down there. I was going to go and prep it and list it and then tote it. And at this point, just because circumstances and things are up and down and vary day by day. And so I feel like it's maybe wiser for me to start toting the stuff I have downstairs in the living room first. There's a couple items I know some of you guys have reached out to me about in particular that I will leave out of the totes and go ahead and get listed and then tote. But outside of that, kind of group things together into totes and then just mark the tote needs listed or something to that effect. And then pull those totes and prep and list them as I can. And then when I have all that done, come up here and finish toting up what's up here. Okay, so for sales, let me get my coffee again. Still a chocolate, I don't know, some kind of chocolate coffee that I just went straight for the insulated cup on this one, guys. I don't know. Oh, and my eye, much better. Allergies off and on, but the weather is crazy and, you know, it is what it is. Overall, doing okay. So, let's go over the couple sales that I need to get wrapped up and get to the post office because it's later in the day than I usually do this and I need to get moving. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to show you guys, these are by Otagiri. It's a set of 4 of them. These are teacups, and I believe all of them still have the original sticker. Granted, the stickers are kind of faded, but they're still there. They're speckled stoneware, Otagiri teacups. This side kind of has, I don't know, like a light brown with a dark brown leaf, and then this side is green with sort of a metallic, kind of like a dark metallic. I know, I apologize for the lighting. They're all in perfect condition though, and like I said, there's a set of 4 of them. I don't remember when I picked those up. They have been listed for a while though, and again, my eBay store is 45% off, and that is through December 5th. I'm likely going to extend that sale, guys. As you know, I'm trying to offload stuff, so probably going to extend that sale. But I wound up selling those for $15.60. Then we had this, I have a set of 2 of Fire King, and I don't know if I will get it to show it to you very well or not, but they're marked Fire King on the base there. And these are milk glass cups out of the 70s, I believe. They're the avocado green. I can't remember what they actually called this pattern, but it, is a lighter green and it fades to dark. It is a stained on color or glazed on coloring. And so just like with your Pyrex, like mixing bowls, how you'll find them and the color will be faded. Don't wash these in the dishwasher because it will destroy the fired on glaze here. But these are in perfect condition, the set of 2. And I think those are pieces that were in some of my original inventory from downstairs and have been listed for quite a while. And I'm honestly kind of surprised that they were listed as long as they were. If you go online and look, they tend to be decent sellers. But for whatever reason, doesn't matter, they wound up selling for $8. So I'm going to get those packed up. And then lastly, we have this vintage Gregorian copper candlestick holder with this ruffled edge. And I don't know if these were originally made in sets or not, but on the back, it's inscribed with Gregorian copper and then like a mold or model number. It's a hand forged, kind of deal with taper candlestick holder. It's 100% copper all the way through. Really cool, really pretty. And again, another piece that I had listed for quite a while that I honestly was surprised took as long as it did to sell. So that sold for $6. So I'm going to get these all wrapped up, and taken to the post office today. Okay, guys, I got everything packed up, and I'm going to run to the post office in a moment and go get it dropped off. But I've been meaning to address specifically, and I can't even remember now what video this was on, but somebody had left a kind of a lengthy comment, and they're another seller and reseller, and they were curious as to my thoughts about the reselling in my area, but probably also just in general, how the reselling game is going to go in general, going forward. And okay, so here's my honest thoughts. A lot of resellers on like YouTube, content creators, and it's very glamorized. To some degree, it's clickbait. And I'm not saying people aren't finding great things out there and aren't flipping them and still making money and all that kind of stuff. I'm sure that they are. And I'm sure that in some ways, especially if you have a booth, location is always going to matter 100%. I found that to be the case myself with my booth, and that was the main reason I closed it. It just didn't in itself seem to get enough traffic through there. The more I looked around, it wasn't just my booth that I didn't see inventory moving in, it was everybody's booths. And so that told me that they just, as much as I loved that antique store, it just told me that it just wasn't in a location that got enough traffic where I could make a profit. I found myself paying them just monthly rent and never collecting any profit out of my booth, or whatever sold out of my booth reduced my rent amount and I covered the rest, kind of thing. And that's why I wound up shutting it down. As far as reselling online, guys, there's a lot of changes going on. Obviously, in the realm of thrift stores and such as we've talked about, but also on all the different platforms. There's various changes going on. Now, granted, I personally only sell on eBay and Niknax, but I've been hearing through the grapevine that pretty much all platforms are going through these, I would almost call it sort of dramatic changes. eBay right now seems to be the biggest one, is the promoted listings. And, you know, I could sit and go through and complain about various things and fees and all this stuff. And if you don't resell, you don't understand or know that portion of it. And that's okay. You don't have to. You're not a seller. But as a seller, you know, like myself with eBay, I have a store subscription. I pay like 20 something a month for my store subscription, okay? Every item I sell, depending on what category it's in, I have to pay an additional percentage fee, and that percentage changes depending on what category it is. Okay, so you got that, which is one thing I like about Niknax, in particular over eBay. One of many things, anyway, is that Niknax is just a flat fee. It's the 10%. Okay, boom, bottom line, 10%. That's it, done. It's not this range like eBay is, and that's really good. But a lot of people are upset right now because of the promoted listing thing. Now, I never personally, in all the time I've been on eBay, I have never felt it appropriate that I should have to pay to promote my listing. I think that, and maybe it's just because I'm old school, but I remember the internet. Let's stop, and even with eBay, just like Google itself, okay? I remember the internet back in the day when you didn't have a bunch of sponsored companies. Like if you were looking for a mechanic or an air conditioner guy or just whatever, and you Googled it, now, and for many years now, you see sponsored ones pop up at the top. So your company could completely suck, be terrible, give terrible service and all the things. And it doesn't really matter because you've paid to have your listing, your store, your whatever, pushed to the top of the list, the first page, the first option, whatever, right? It's a pay to play game. And that is what the internet, and including your selling platforms, have turned into. Pay to play. Pay us more on top of your store subscription fee, on top of your category item, you know, seller percentage fee, on top of that, right? Pay us more and we'll put your listing at the top. Now, I've heard throughout my time on eBay that some people find that even with their promoted listing, their listings would still be buried. You could literally Google pretty much the exact title of their listing and it would not pop up. I have found that to be the case on my own stuff. And so now what they're doing on eBay, from what I gather, I haven't sat and read through the whole policy, is basically if you are promoting your listings, and eBay gives you the option to promote anywhere, I think it's like you can do 1% all the way up to 100%. You can gift eBay 100% of your profit on what you sold if you so choose to promote it. Why you would do that, I don't know. Who does that? I have no clue. Whatever. But you can. But basically, what happens now with promoted listings is that if somebody clicks on your promoted listing, and then my understanding of it from what I've heard, again, I haven't read the policy, please go read it, but what I've heard is that, like, Joe clicks on my listing, my promoted listing today, and a couple days from now, I stop promoting it, you know, and stop that option, okay? But within a certain amount of time frame, I think it's 30 days, any other random person that comes by and clicks on my listing even though it's not even being promoted now, I still have to pay that promotion fee. I'm sure that there's more to it than that. They also have raised that amount a little bit, I think, in certain ways. But basically, it's a corporate scam. I don't know how else to put it to you. Sorry, eBay. I'm not good at sugarcoating things, guys. And again, please go read the policy, but that's the gist of what I understand. And I was never in favor of having to pay to play to promote my listings. I felt like I paid eBay enough already with my store subscription and my seller's percentage fee on top of that, that should suffice. And we're talking about a multi-billion, probably more, dollar corporation. I just don't get it. So, it is what it is. But as far as the reselling market, guys, I guess I've been thinking more and more and more about going forward the types of items that I will continue to look forward to buy. And I'm sure decorative things will still, be in there and stuff. But personally, I've been kind of wondering about gearing my inventory more towards like legit utilitarian sort of items, things that people needs, not wants, if that makes sense. Because I think economy wise, which I don't foresee improving for the vast majority of the population anytime soon. That's my uneducated, humble opinion. But for the vast majority of the people, that's not going to change. And so I think we're shifting into a little bit more of if I'm going to spend my money on something, I'm going to spend it on something I need versus I want, or it just looks pretty, or that kind of thing. And that's not to say that, decorative things, won't sell, like here's a heart paperweight, right? Like people still will buy stuff like this, but will you get what you may have once at one point gotten for it? I don't know. I don't know the answer to that, guys. I think it just depends. But the best advice I can give you is to just kind of keep your eyes and ears open to your local area. Keep your eyes on the thrift store. Even if you're not buying in the thrift stores or, a content creator, go in there and just look around. See what their pricing's like. See what kind of inventory, if they even really have inventory. Just kind of keep an eye on what's going on there. I would do the same thing with your retail stores in general. I keep hearing on mainstream media that prices are going down. I have found zero evidence of that in my personal life. I don't know. So, in fact, I even saw recently somebody put together a compilation of a bunch of like TikToks and probably YouTube shorts and stuff like that, where people were talking about like going and returning items at, Target or Gap or wherever, and they could see in the back at the customer service, like just stockpiles of inventory for the holidays, like Halloween, Thanksgiving, and stuff like that, that were still back there. And not returns, just inventory that they hadn't even been able to put out on the shelves because what they had put out had not even sold. So that is kind of an eye-opener for me, that people, the vast majority of people, are focusing more on their needs over their wants, which is a wise thing to do. Now, in my personal predicament, given the inventory that I have, that sucks, but I completely understand it. and I don't disagree with it. So I suppose that's where I'm at on it, guys. Anyways, I'm gonna get myself going to the post office. I think it's getting close to 2 o'clock now, and you guys will see this video Saturday evening, and I plan on seeing y'all Sunday evening at 6:30 p.m. Central, live on Niknax. I think I'm probably gonna be on there for, I don't know, anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, just depending on how many people are there hanging out and stuff, but, you know, at least an hour, give or take. And we'll just hang out and have some fun. So I hope to see you guys there. And I'll catch you on the next one.